Hello friends, in previous lectures we have studied about the external characters of squalidon and its digestive system. In this video we are going to discuss about the respiratory system of squalidon. So the first question arises that what is a respiratory system? So in a common terminology we called respiratory system is the system in living organisms that take up oxygen and discharges carbon dioxide in order to satisfy energy requirement. So, what is a respiratory system? Where this is a one gaseous exchange in which we take oxygen inside and give carbon dioxide oxide or releases carbon dioxide oxide. Why? For the energy requirements. So, in this process, we take oxygen inside and give carbon dioxide outside. But one question arises that why we take oxygen inside? The reason is that this oxygen actually acts as an oxidizing agent in the body. The glucose molecule, which is absorbed from the blood and produced from the digestive system after the broken down of the carbohydrates, which are the polysaccharides, into glucose, which are monosaccharide. So this monomeric form, glucose, which is act as a energy source of our body, should be further oxidized to release energy. For that oxidation process of glucose, we require an oxidizing agent, and that oxidizing agent is the oxygen, which is inhaled by the living system, by the living organisms. So the living organisms inhale oxygen to further oxidize this glucose molecule into carbon dioxide and water. Now this carbon dioxide which is produced as a raw material in this reaction is not useful for the body. So it should be expelled outside from the body. And the water is useful for the body. So we kept oxygen inside. And after the oxidation of complete glucose molecule, there is a formation of adenosine triphosphate, which acts as an energy currency of the body. And this ATP, adenosine triphosphate, is used for the release of energy for various cellular reactions and various processes and for the body growth. So, in the case of squalidon, the respiration is occurred by the help of gills. This squalidon is an aquatic animal. So, squalidon have to take oxygen, dissolve oxygen from the water, because squalidon is an aquatic animal. So squalidon have to take dissolved oxygen from the water, and that function is carried out by the help of vascular gills. So the respiratory system in squalidon is divided into 3 points. The first we have discussed about the respiratory organ, the structure of the respiratory organ and the functions of the respiratory organ, especially the holobranch. Then we discuss about the mechanism of breathing, that in the case of squalidon how inspiration and expiration occur, and then physiology of respiration, that how this gaseous exchange occur, that is the intake of oxygen and giving the carbon dioxide outside. So first point which we discuss is about the respiratory organ in the case of squalidon, that is the gills. So a respiratory organ, this squalidon is an aquatic animal, so it takes dissolved oxygen from the water. So the respiration is by the help of the gills. What are the peculiar features which should be present in a respiratory organ? That it should be thin, it should be vascularized, means it should have blood capillary supplies, and it should be wet by the help of the mucus. So these three features should be present in a respiratory organ, that only it act as a in that act or play important role in the respiratory system. In the case of squalidon, the respiratory organs are the gills, and that is in the form of 5 pair of gill pouches which contain the gills. So the position of the gills in the case of squalidon is present in the case of pharyngeal region. Now here in this diagram you can able to see this is the pharynx region of the squalodon, and this pharynx region contain the gills in a form of gill pouches. How many gill pouches are present? There are 5 pair of gill pouches. In this diagram we can able to see this is the mouth region. Okay, this is the mouth, and after mouth this is the pharynx region, and in this pharynx region we can able to see that this opening mouth is there, and this is the pharynx region, and in this pharynx region there are, first this is the internal branchial opening. After this internal branchial opening there are gill lamellae are arranged serially. These are the gill lamellae. Okay, and this internal branchial opening is open outside by this external openings or an external gill aperture. This is also called as external gill aperture, and this is also called as internal gill aperture or openings. Okay, if you carefully observe this gill lamellae, which are leaf-like folds. So gills are in a form of gill lamellae. Here we can see this. These are the gill lamellae. Okay, and these gill lamellae are supported by this interbranchial septum. These are the interbranchial septum. So this is the mouth opening, and then this is the pharynx region. In this pharynx region, there are gill slits are there. Gill slits means opening of the gills. There are 5 gill slits. Here we can see this is the first gill slits, 1, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. So 5 pair of gill slits are there. Again repeating 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. These are the openings. These openings are called as gill slits. And if we see, this is the opening mouth. After mouth, this is the opening by which the water can enter. This is the internal interbranchial openings. Okay, and then this is the external branchial openings or the gill slits. Okay, and if you see the diagram carefully, this is the first gill called as iodine arch, and this having only single gill lamellae. Okay, so this interbranchial means this gill pouches have this gill lamellae. If you see this interbranchial septum is larger and is supported by this anterior gill lamellae, and this is the posterior gill lamellae. So this is a complete set of gill lamellae. This is called as a holobranch. This gill lamellae is 3 types: holobranch, hemibranch, and abranch. So this interbranchial septum, if interbranchial septum is contain complete gill set, means anterior gill lamellae and posterior gill lamellae, this is called as a holobranch. Okay, and this, if you see this diagram, if you see this gill lamellae, this is having only posterior gill lamellae. So this is a hemibranch or demibranch. And this do not have any gill lamellae. That's why it is called as a abranch or false gills or pseudo gills. Okay, so if we see in this diagram, this is one hemibranch, and the remaining 4 are the holobranch. In holobranch, there are 2 hemibranch, means the holobranch is formed from 2 hemibranch, anterior supported by anterior and posterior gill lamellae. So in the case of squalodon, actually the water is coming inside the body from the mouth to this pharynx region. In this pharynx region, this is the opening. How many openings you can see? There are 5 openings: 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. There are 5 openings. These openings are called as interbranchial openings, and then the water go outside after bathing this gill lamellae from this external gill aperture on this external gill openings. 5 external gill openings are there, 5 pair. Okay, so if we discuss about the single holobranch structure, this is the structure of a single holobranch. Here we can see this holobranch. Okay, in this holobranch, this having this interbranchial septum. If you see this interbranchial septum length is more, and this is supported by this anterior gill lamellae and posterior gill lamellae. So in this interbranchial septum having a complete set of gills, both on anterior side as well as posterior side. Anterior side also have gill lamellae, which are very thin vascularized structure like the leaf, and the posterior side also having a gill lamellae, thin, same, vascularized. And here is actually the gases exchange takes place. But this is supported by this cartilaginous interbranchial septum. This interbranchial septum is cartilaginous, and the length is more. Such type of gills are called as lamelliform gills. Okay, and this structure, this interbranchial septum is supported by this cartilage. It is made up of from cartilage because The squadron is cartilaginous fish and having a muscle fiber for the movement of the gills lamellis, and they are innervated by the nerve fiber. The above one is called as pre-traumatic and the below one is called as post-traumatic nerve. Okay, and this gill lamellis are vascularized by the arteries. There are two arteries, afferent branchial arteries, which going to supply the blood to the gills, and the posterior afferent branchial artery, which going to collect the blood from the gills. So this holobranch means the gill lamellis, which are complete set and having both the means having the gill lamellae both on anterior as well as posterior side. That is called as a holobranch. If only one is present either on anterior side or on posterior side, that is called as a hemibranch. But this is a holobranch because they having complete set of gill lamellae both in anterior side as well as in the posterior side. Okay, but in this case, if you see this interbranchial septum means which is present between the gills. This is the septum or separation which is present between these two gills, gill lamellae. That's why this is called as interbranchial septum. There are three terms: extra, intra, and inter. Extra means outside, intra means inside, and inter means between. So this is the interbranchial septum, means between the two gill lamellis, and the length of the septum is large. Such type of gills are called as lamelliform gills, and this is made up of from cartilage. And this, what is the function of this interbranchial septum? This supports this gill lamellis. This gill lamellis are very thin structure, very vascularized, and like the leaf. And this is supported by this interbranchial septum, which is made up of from cartilage. And this holobranch is supported by the cartilage, having muscles fiber for the movement, and they are innervated by the nerve fibers. The above one is called as pre-traumatic because it is above pre-traumatic, and below post-traumatic. And these gills are supplied or vascularized by the blood vessels. There are two blood vessels. Afferent branchial arteries start from the letter A. Afferent branchial means which supply blood to the gills. And efferent branchial artery. Efferent means which is going to collect the blood from the gills. It is started from the letter E. So this is the structure of a holobranch. I am again repeating that holobranch means this is the type of gills which is called as complete gills or a true gills, in which both the anterior and posterior side have the gill lamellae. If only single gill lamellae is present either in anterior or posterior side, it is called as a hemibranch. Okay, and if there is no gill lamellae, then it is called as a branch. Now, one thing interesting, that how this mechanism of breathing or how inspiration and expiration occur in the case of Scoliodon. As I earlier told you that Scoliodon is an aquatic animal. It is going to take oxygen from the dissolved water. So what is the mechanism? It is that for during the inspiration process. Inspiration means taking the water inside, and expiration means expelling the water outside in the case of Scoliodon. During inspiration process, what occurs actually is that mouth is remain open. Okay, mouth is open here. Okay, and the gills are closed, and the wall of this pharynx region get contract. Due to the contraction of this pharyngeal wall, the cavity inside the pharynx get increased, and due to the increased cavity, the negative pressure is created inside the pharynx. Due to that, the water come inside the pharynx region, and that's we call it as the inspiration. So in inspiration, what is occurring is that the mouth is open and the gills are closed, and the pharyngeal wall get contract. Due to the contraction means there is a lowering of pharyngeal wall. The pharyngeal wall get lowered. Due to the lowering of pharyngeal wall, the cavity inside the pharynx region get increased. Pharynx cavity बढ़ जाएगी, and due to that there is a create of negative pressure. There is a create of negative pressure, and that's why the water come outside to the inside. This is the inspiration process. Now what occurs in the expiration process? Expiration means we are going to expel the water outside. During expiration, what is occurring is the mouth is closed. Now here we can see that the mouth is closed and the gills are open. Okay, and this pharyngeal wall again come to their original, means they get relaxed and come original position. So the cavity inside the pharynx get decreased now, and now there is a positive pressure inside the pharynx. Due to the positive pressure inside the pharynx, the water molecule forcefully get expelled from the gills after bathing the gill lamella, because there is no, because the mouth is closed, the water do not get escape outside from the mouth, so that's why the mouth is closed, and there is only, and the gills are open. So only due to the increased cavity, due to the decreased cavity and increased pressure, the water feels a pressure and exert a pressure to go outside, and only single place is remaining to go outside, that from the gills. So this water go outside from the body, from this gills, bathing the gill lamellae, and so there is a contact between the water and the gill lamellae, and at that time gaseous exchange takes place. So in breathing process, in the case of Squalodon, which is completed by two steps, inspiration and expiration. Inspiration, by which the water coming inside the pharynx cavity, and expiration means the water is expelled outside the body. Inspiration, mouth is open, gills closed. There is a lowering of pharyngeal wall, increase in the cavity of pharynx, negative pressure is created, water is coming inside, and during expiration process, again the wall of this pharynx come to original position. So there is a decrease in the pharyngeal cavity and increase of the pressure, and so water, due to the increase in pressure, water feels a pressure to go outside. As the mouth is closed and gills are open, the water come outside from the gills, and that's why there is a contact. It come bathing the gill lamellae. So this is the mechanism of the breathing, and then that is occur by two steps: inspiration and the expiration. If we talk about the physiology of respiration, that how this gases exchange takes place, I earlier told you that the during the expiration process, the water going outside from pharynx to the to outside by the gill slits. There are 5 pair of gill slits. So water come in contact with this gill lamellae, and when the water come contact with this gill lamellae, there occur gaseous exchange. Now, what is a gaseous exchange? Here we can able to understand that. Now, this is the blood vessel. This is the blood vessels of the gills. Okay, and this is the flow of the blood, direction of the flow of the blood, and this is the direction of the flow of the water from inside to outside. The flow of water is from inside to outside. Now, the blood which is coming in means the blood supplied to the gills by the afferent vessels and collected from the efferent vessels. The blood supplied to the gills are the deoxygenated blood. Okay, means the afferent vessels contain deoxygenated blood, means it having a less amount of the oxygen and high amount of the carbon dioxide. So the gaseous exchange takes place by the process called as diffusion. Okay, diffusion. What is diffusion? Movement of gases from higher concentration to lower concentration is called as a diffusion. Movement of gases from higher concentration to lower concentration. So what is occurring here? As this water contains high concentration of oxygen, the oxygen diffuses from water to blood, because the blood having a less concentration of the oxygen. And the carbon dioxide concentration is high in blood, because this is a deoxygenated blood. So it carries carbon dioxide. The concentration of carbon dioxide is high in the case of blood. That's why the carbon dioxide move from blood to water, because in water the concentration of carbon dioxide is less. So this movement of gases means the oxygen, what is occurring here, the oxygen is moving from water to blood and carbon dioxide from blood to water. So this is called as counter current mechanism, or counter current flow of the gases, or exchange of the gases. This is the counter current gases exchange, because the oxygen is moving from water to blood and the carbon dioxide is moving from blood to water. So this is the opposite direction, counter current gases exchange. And remember that the gases follows the law of diffusion. What is diffusion? Is the movement of gases from higher concentration to lower concentration is called as a diffusion. So what is occurring here? The blood which is coming in the gills, gill lamellae, specifically gill lamellae, this gaseous exchange is occurring in the gill lamellae. So that is the structure and function unit of the respiratory system, or the gill lamellae. In the gills lamellae, they are having a thin wall and they are highly vascularized. So due to the thin wall, the gases can diffuse, the oxygen can diffuse inside and the carbon dioxide can diffuse outside due to the thin wall. So this gill lamellae is having a very thin wall. Due to thin wall, the gases exchange can occur, and as this is vascularized, means supplied by the gills, The blood which is supplied to the gills are deoxygenated blood, so it having a less concentration of oxygen and high concentration of carbon dioxide. And as the water having dissolved oxygen, the concentration of oxygen in the water is high. So oxygen from water go inside the blood, and the concentration of carbon dioxide as inside the blood is high. So carbon dioxide move from blood vessels to the water, and this water is goes outside, expel outside the body through the gill slits or the gill openings. Okay, this type of respiration is called as external respiration. The respiration which occur in the gill lamellae are called as a external respiration, and there is one internal respiration which occur in the cells. In the cells, the oxygen go from blood inside the cells and the carbon dioxide from cell to the blood. That is called as internal respiration. So internal respiration occur in the cells, and this external respiration occur in the respiratory surface or the respiratory organ. So this physiology of respiration explains that how this oxygen diffuses from the water to the blood and from carbon dioxide which is in the blood to the water. So that is called as countercurrent mechanism. And if you see the diagram, the flow of blood and the flow of water is also opposite. The flow of blood and the flow of water is also opposite. That is also a countercurrent mechanism which ensure that always the water meet the blood which having a deficient oxygen. This countercurrent mechanism ensure that when the water meet the blood, there is always deficient amount of oxygen in the blood. So there is a proper diffusion of oxygen from water to the blood. So this is the physiology of respiration which explains us that the movement of oxygen takes place from water to the blood. Now this blood, as a diffusion occur, now the blood become oxidized, and this oxidized blood supplied to the cells, and from the cells, what the cells take oxygen inside, because that oxygen is utilized to bring the utilized to oxidize the glucose for the release of energy. That's why cells take oxygen and give carbon dioxide. That is the internal respiration which occur inside the cell. So I think this is all about the respiratory system in the case of Spolydon. These are the following references which we can use to refer. That is a modern textbook of zoology, Vertebrates by R.M. Kotpal, and the Guarded Zoology by E.R. Jordan. So thanks a lot for watching this video, and thank you.